Hey everyone, and welcome. Now, if your world revolves around data in neat, tidy rows and columns, get ready. We're about to look at data in a totally different way, through the eyes of modern AI. Okay, let's dive right in.
So I want to start with a question for you. You're probably a pro with SQL, pulling data from tables without even thinking about it. But when it's time to fuel an AI model, what does that data actually look like? Well, it's probably not what you think.
And this slide, this gets right to the heart of it. On the left, you've got what we all know and love, a traditional table where each row is one complete thing, like a user. Super easy to read. But on the right, that's the AI world. It's a mathematical matrix. And here's the kicker. Each column is a complete record. The whole thing is literally flipped on its side.
So yeah, this is our first big idea. We're going beyond rows and columns to really understand how AI sees data. For an AI, it's not a list of entries. It's one giant mathematical object.
And this is that object, the data matrix, which we usually just call X. Now here's that critical twist you have to wrap your head around. What we think of as a single record, one customer, one house, is now a single column in this matrix. All of its details are just stacked vertically. So that begs the question, right? What are the rows for?
Right. So if the columns are our observations, the rows must be something else. And in AI, they're everything. They're what we call features. These are the absolute building blocks of intelligence for any model.
So what exactly is a feature? Well, it's basically any single measurable piece of information about what we're looking at. The best way to think about it is like this. Features are the raw ingredients. The AI model's job is to learn the perfect recipe to mix them all together to make a prediction.
Okay, I know measurable property still sounds a little bit abstract, so let's bring this back down to earth. What does a feature actually look like in the kind of structured data we see every day?
Let's use a classic example, the Boston housing dataset. In this table, every column is a feature. CRIM is the crime rate, RM is the average number of rooms. You get the idea. Each one is a signal that the AI can use to predict the final house price. So here's the big takeaway. In structured data like this, your database columns are the AI's features. Simple as that.
All right, tables make sense. But what about messy data? What about something that doesn't have neat columns? Like a photograph of a handwritten number. Where in the world are the features hiding in there?
Well, it's actually a pretty cool deconstruction process. You start with the image itself. The computer just sees a grid of pixels, right? In this case, 28 by 28. Each pixel has a number for its brightness. Now here's the magic trick. We unroll that grid into one single long list of numbers. So for our little image, we suddenly have 784 features. Every single pixel value becomes its own feature. Wild, isn't it?
Okay, so we've got our feature vectors. We can just toss them into the model now, right? And not so fast. Getting the data shaped correctly is only half the story. This next part, preparation, is absolutely everything. It's where AI projects live or die.
And this quote just says it all. I mean, we've all been there. Data prep isn't just about formatting. It's about being correct. One tiny mistake, like your labels being off by 1, can send you down a rabbit hole for hours trying to fix a model that was perfectly fine, just fed the wrong data.
So what does good prep look like? Well, a few key things. First, you got to split your data sets so you can train the model on one part and then test it on data it's never seen. Then there's something called one-hot encoding, which is just a clever way to turn words like cat or dog into numbers. And you absolutely have to handle unbalanced classes to make sure your model doesn't just get lazy and guess the most common answer every time.
Man, that sounds like a ton of work. Nobody's doing all that by hand, right? Of course not. And that brings us to the tools of the trade, the Python AI ecosystem.
But this is not your everyday Python. On the left, you see a normal for loop. It's easy to read, but for the millions of calculations AI needs, it's painfully slow. On the right, though, is something called a vectorized operation, using a library called NumPy. It does the same job, but way, way faster.
And I'm not talking about a small speed bump. The difference is staggering. Vectorized operations can be more than 100 times faster. For training a model, that's the difference between waiting a few minutes and waiting a few days. This speed is literally what makes modern AI possible.
And this whole ecosystem is built on that speed.
At the foundation, you have NumPy doing the heavy lifting with the math. Then you have libraries like scikit-learn on top for all the common stuff, like splitting data. And then you have the big frameworks like TensorFlow that use all that power to actually build and train the models. It's all one big, powerful stack.
So if we boil this all down, what's the one big thing to remember? It's that moving from the world of relational data to AI requires a complete mindset shift. You have to stop thinking about clean individual rows and start thinking in terms of these massive high-dimensional feature vectors.
So I'll leave you with this thought. Now that you have a better idea of what kind of data AI actually eats, what could you do with that? Think about the data you work with. What new problems could you solve if you started thinking in features?
Hey, if you found this explainer useful, do me a favor and share it with a friend or colleague. And of course, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss our next deep dive. Thanks so much for tuning in.